YouTube is now on easy mode. Don't believe me? Just look at Mike Corey. Mike was so terrified of being on camera that he needed 50 takes just to say his own name. Today, his adventure videos have over 180 million views, and he's convinced that 2025 is the best time he's ever seen to start a channel from zero. The algorithm has completely flipped the script. For the first time in YouTube's history, the platform is actively promoting the small over the mighty. Channels with barely 500 subscribers now appear right next to videos from YouTube royalty that boast millions of views. The playing field isn't just leveling, it's tilting in favor of newcomers. If you've been telling yourself it's too late, that YouTube is oversaturated, or that Silicon Valley only rewards those with fancy gear, I've got news for you. That story is dead. 2025 isn't just a good time to start, it's the perfect moment to plant your flag. In this video, I'll share the 9 essential strategies straight from the trenches of Mike Corey, the mind behind Fearless and Far. Mike climbed from 0 to 2.8 million subscribers, not through luck, not through connections, but through essential lessons he's learned through 13 years of trial and error. This video could easily save a decade of your life, because these are the exact strategies Mike would implement if he was starting from scratch today. And in this video, I'll reveal the counterintuitive reason why the most camera-shy person can succeed on YouTube in 2025. A secret most established YouTubers can't see because they're too invested in the old way. This insight alone could transform your entire approach. Mike's journey is so remarkable because he wasn't a natural on camera. Far from it. His breakthrough video, Hunting with the Hadza Hunter-Gatherers, exploded to 17 million views when he finally learned how to unify these strategies into a single video.
That video changed everything, man, and still to this day, it's the most viewed long-form video.
And Mike isn't alone on his path to success. Last year alone, over 500 creators crossed the coveted million subscriber threshold. What separates those who thrive from those who fade isn't talent, and it isn't timing. It's strategy. Let's dive into exactly what you need to do if you're starting your YouTube journey today. If you were launching a channel today, where would you focus first? Most creators immediately would start obsessing over the content, the camera, the edits, and the topics. But there's something else that's actually more important: your packaging. Your title and thumbnail aren't just important, they're everything. These small rectangles matter more than the video itself. This sounds like heresy to a content purist, but think about it. If no one watches your video, has it served any purpose? An incredible video trapped behind poor packaging is like a brilliant book with its pages glued shut.
If the candy bar wrapper is amazing, people will buy the candy bar. People will click on your video, and it's that simple. The candy bar doesn't have to be that good, honestly. It doesn't even, it's like secondary to how good the packaging is.
YouTube's algorithm isn't some mysterious black box. It's a mirror reflecting viewer behavior. It recommends what people click. It promotes what people watch. When viewers scroll past your video once, twice, 3 times without clicking, YouTube takes note. The algorithm just doesn't notice. It reacts. It stops serving your content altogether.
If I make videos people have to click on because the idea is that good, all this will go away. That is all you need to do. That is literally the hack of the internet.
So how do you create packaging that forces people to click? Mike's strategy breaks it down into 3 key elements. First, faces. Not just any faces, expressive human faces. We're hardwired to connect with eyes, expressions, and emotion. Our brains process faces before anything else. Yet most beginners miss this primal truth. They show landscapes, they show objects, they show everything but the emotional core that viewers instinctively seek.
For the thumbnails, faces are king. I think a very rookie beginner mistake for YouTubers is to put a big landscape or a couple faraway faces.
Second, create narrative tension in your composition. The most powerful thumbnails don't just show something, they tell a story. They create a visual cliffhanger that can only be resolved by clicking. They pose a question that demands an answer.
These caught mid-action type thumbnails do the best because people click on them.
Consider one of Mike's most successful thumbnails, camping at Satan's castle in Turkey. The image didn't just show a castle. It created a visual story. a majestic, imposing structure looming over a tiny, vulnerable campfire below. The text overlay that says "shots fired" with an arrow pointing to his camp wasn't just some random text, it was tension. That single image created a mystery that could only be solved by clicking. Third, use text strategically. Not to repeat the title, not to explain the topic, but to build intrigue. Most beginners make the critical mistake of redundancy. They create the title and then they copy that exact title onto their thumbnail. And it's not just ineffective, it's wasting precious real estate.
A very common mistake I see people make is they'll be visiting Victoria Falls in Africa, and the title will be like "Visiting Victoria Falls," and then they'll put "Victoria Falls" text on the thumbnail, and it's like, why? Who cares? You already said that.
Instead of repeating your title, add text that creates curiosity and complements the message. Mike uses provocative phrases like "Are you a fool?" "Ouch," and "My second mistake." Phrases that don't explain but entice. They don't satisfy curiosity, they create it. Finally, harness AI and creative thinking to craft titles that stick. The first idea is rarely the best one, and the most obvious title is usually the forgettable one.
What I've been using recently is a tool called Spotter Studio that uses AI, where I'll say camping 24 hours with a tribe, and then I'll run that through AI now to just find more evocative deviations from that. So the title, I believe, if I remember correctly, is like "Feeding an Angry Rain God."
Which title steps inside your brain and refuses to leave? Camping with a tribe or feeding an angry rain god? The second creates an immediate curiosity while still accurately describing the content. It doesn't just tell, it teases. While packaging gets people to click, it's what they discover inside, your unique voice and perspective, that transforms them from viewers into loyal fans. Let's explore how to develop your X factor that makes you stand out in a sea of sameness. Picture this. Mike stands in a remote village watching Hadza tribesmen preparing for a hunt. The translator's advice is clear. Stay back and use a zoom lens. Keep a safe distance. Every other travel creator who'd visited did exactly that, capturing beautiful B-roll from afar. The safe choice, the expected approach. But Mike knew something was missing. The YouTube travel space was already saturated with pretty footage that kept viewers at an arm's length. His channel had struggled for years despite high production value. The polished look was part of the problem, not the solution. Something had to change. So he made a decision. He handed his videographer the expensive camera and grabbed a tiny GoPro. And he did what no one else would do. He walked directly into the hunting party. He told himself, "I want to be in the middle of whatever they're doing." That single decision to stop observing and start participating became Mike's X factor. The video didn't just perform, it transformed his channel with 17 million views. Not because of beautiful cinematography, but because no other travel creator was willing to get that uncomfortable, that authentic. Your X factor isn't something you invent, it's something you uncover. It's this unique combination of traits, experiences, perspectives, or skills that makes your content impossible to confuse with anyone else's. It's your competitive advantage in a landscape where sameness is a death sentence. The number one reason small channels remain small isn't a lack of equipment. It isn't poor editing, and it isn't even low-quality content. It's being forgettable. When viewers can't immediately identify what makes you special, they have no reason to hit subscribe. In a sea of similarity, being good isn't enough. Being unique is everything.
There's been a couple periods where I did get burnt out. Both of those times, I realized I wasn't making content that excited me. I was trying to make content that I thought the algorithm would like, and I didn't show up on camera the same way.
So how do you develop your X factor? Start by identifying what naturally sets you apart. Your background, your perspective, and your quirks. These aren't flaws to hide, but assets to amplify. Ask your friends what advice they often seek from you. Ask them about what stories you tell that stick with them. These answers contain gold. Then deliberately amplify these distinctions. Don't just accept differences, lean into them. Don't try and smooth your edges, sharpen them. The parts of you that you're tempted to hide might be exactly what makes you impossible to forget.
I'm not the guy that sits in the sideline. No, I want to be in the middle of it with my hands wrist deep in the gazelle myself.
Third, create content that genuinely excites you. Enthusiasm isn't just contagious, it's compelling. When you're passionate about your topic, your energy becomes palpable. The camera captures what you feel, not just what you say. Speaking becomes effortless when the words are fueled by genuine interest.
Going back to this whole talking on camera thing, I realized it's easy to talk about things you love. If you have passions, it's easy to talk about it.
Finally, pursue depth over breadth. Don't cover more topics, cover the right topics more thoroughly than anyone else. Rather than skimming the surface of trends, deep dive into specific aspects that genuinely interest you. The internet doesn't need more generalists. It needs more specialists who go places others won't.
I really do feel like I'm an ambassador when I go to these places, and it's my duty to go as deep as possible to, first of all, honor the people I'm with, to give back to my viewers the as authentic experience as I possibly can offer.
Finding your X factor isn't comfortable. It requires courage. It demands that you are authentically yourself on camera, the very thing that most creators struggle with. So let's tackle the elephant in the room, fear itself. Not how to avoid it, but how to use it as your most powerful compass. Finding your X factor sounds great in theory, but let's be honest, putting your authentic self on camera isn't just challenging, it's terrifying. This is precisely where most creators hit a wall they'll never climb over. But what if this fear isn't your enemy? What if it's the most reliable guide you'll ever have? Mike didn't just overcome fear. He built his entire brand around it. The name Fearless and Far isn't just catchy alliteration. It's a philosophy. Fear isn't a stop sign. It's a compass pointing towards growth. When your palms sweat at the thought of sharing your opinion, when your stomach tightens at the idea of being judged, that's not a warning to retreat. It's a signal that you're heading exactly where you need to go.
My whole channel's the underline is fear. And I changed the name of the channel from Kick the Grind to Fearless and Far because I wanted to make a lifestyle that was a constant rite of passage.
Most beginners let fear win without a fight. Fear of judgment freezes them. Fear of criticism silences them. Fear of looking foolish stops them from ever starting. They wait for the fear to disappear before they begin, but that day never arrives. The fear isn't the problem. Their relationship with fear is.
Fear is a guide, and it's so hard to get people to understand that because its nature is to make you run. Fear will always show up if you're on the right path.
So how do you transform fear from a barrier into a beacon? First, recognize its universality. The nervous energy isn't unique to you. It isn't a sign of your inadequacy. Even creators with millions of subscribers feel it every time they hit record.
We think fear is a sign to turn around, is a sign to push forward, and you have to get used to that feeling.
Start small, but start now. Record yourself speaking to the camera for 5 uninterrupted minutes. Don't worry about publishing it. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Each time you push through resistance, the fear loses power. What terrified you yesterday becomes merely uncomfortable tomorrow, and then routine next week. Finally, reframe criticism completely. When someone criticizes your content, it's not failure. It's validation that you've differentiated enough to provoke a response. Bland content creates no reaction. Powerful content polarizes. Not everyone will love your authentic self, and that's totally okay. In fact, it's essential.
One of the scariest things in this world is no longer saber-toothed tigers, it's getting kicked out of the tribe. I've lost friends. People have made fun of me for years, but along the way, I've separated myself from the people who weren't serving me, made new friends, better than before.
Once you reframe fear from barrier to compass, you're ready to implement one of Mike's most powerful techniques for grabbing viewer attention in those critical first seconds. The moments that determine whether your message will ever be heard at all. A compelling cold open does more than capture attention. It earns it. It doesn't just prevent viewers from leaving, it makes leaving feel unthinkable. But keeping them around watching for the next 10 minutes requires an entirely different strategy, one that Mike calls side quests, and I'll cover that in just a moment. A cold open isn't just a technique, it's psychological judo. It starts your video with the most exciting or intriguing moment from later in your content. Then you rewind to properly begin the story. What this does is manufacture an information gap that viewers can only satisfy by continuing to watch.
That was one of the first videos where I decided to employ a cold open style strategy. I discovered a format to open a video that worked. Ever since that video, I've always made sure to employ that style of opening.
YouTube analytics tells a brutal truth. Most viewers decide whether to stay or leave in the first 10 to 15 seconds. The window for capturing attention is microscopic. A powerful cold open doesn't just increase retention slightly, it can dramatically transform your video's performance in these critical moments.
This typical structure would be click on the thumbnail. The first shot is exactly the same as the thumbnail. And then it's like montage, like boom, 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 boom. And then we do a map, then we do a bit of a voiceover, but it's never there already.
To create an effective cold open, follow Mike's 3-step formula. First, make your first frame mirror the thumbnail exactly. When the viewer clicks that thumbnail, they should immediately see the same image in that first frame. This is called click confirmation, and it creates immediate trust. You've delivered what you've promised from the very first second. Second, show exciting snippets without revealing everything. Tease, don't tell. In Mike's breakthrough video, he immediately showed clips of the most dramatic hunting moments. These glimpses created irresistible questions. How did he get here? What happened next? And what led to this moment? Third, only after this teaser should you rewind to begin the journey properly. Transition to the beginning, set the scene, and start building the narrative that will eventually lead to that compelling moment you've just teased. A strong cold open gets viewers past the first 15 seconds, the most dangerous point in any video. But to keep them watching through the next 10 minutes, you need to maintain engagement with side quests, Mike's secret weapon for retention throughout the middle of your videos. The straight path is boring. The winding journey is what's captivating. Instead of presenting a direct route to his main point, Mike strategically incorporates what he calls side quests, smaller adventures or unexpected moments that maintain engagement while building towards the climax. These aren't distractions. They're strategic detours that actually increase the likelihood viewers reach the destination.
We're always looking for these little small adventures that get us step by step closer to the big adventure. If it's taking a little bit too long, I'll use voiceover to remind them, hey, so we're not there yet. There's some cool stuff coming up, but we're on our way there.
Modern viewers don't just have short attention spans. They have fundamentally fragmented attention. Their finger is always hovering over that skip button. Their mind is constantly calculating whether your content deserves another minute. Side quests create multiple mini payoffs throughout the video, preventing the viewer drop-offs that plague most creators. Mike doesn't just think of these as entertainment. To him, they're retention insurance.
Do a couple side quests along the way. I'll always remind them, either on camera or in voiceover, that, hey, it's coming, just wait, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, to get them to the end.
To implement side quests effectively, first plan deliberate diversions that support your main theme. These aren't random tangents, they're strategic mini-adventures that build anticipation towards your main point. In Mike's voodoo exploration video, while the main goal was attending an authentic ceremony, he created side quests by visiting the voodoo market, purchasing strange items, and even creating a spell. Each side quest built anticipation for the main event while providing value along the way. Second, use voiceover to maintain the narrative thread, periodically reminding viewers that the main payoff is still coming. These verbal breadcrumbs build tension while assuring viewers their patience will be rewarded. Finally, be ruthless with your editing knife. Cut anything that doesn't maintain engagement, no matter how much time you invested in creating it. Your ego may resist, but your retention graph won't lie.
Honestly, anything that isn't very compelling, I'll just cut it. Like I'm a ruthless cutter.
These engagement techniques work brilliantly when you actually implement them consistently. But that's where we hit the hard truth that most YouTube experts never address. Here's the problem that no one talks about. Everything I've shown you so far, the packaging that forces clicks, the X factor that makes you memorable, the cold opens that hook viewers, the side quests that maintain engagement, none of it matters if you can't actually create content consistently. This might surprise you, but 78% of YouTube creators quit within just 3 months. Most never even reach 10 videos. And the number one reason isn't lack of views. It isn't algorithm problems. It's something far more fundamental. They've built a creation process that is too complex, too perfect, and ultimately unsustainable. This is where Mike's approach becomes truly contrarian. While most YouTube experts tell you to upgrade your equipment, perfect your lighting, and meticulously script everything, Mike does the opposite. He deliberately simplified his gear even after gaining millions of subscribers. He didn't add complexity, he stripped it away. This inversion of conventional wisdom is why Mike's approach to equipment is revolutionary. It completely upends what most YouTube gurus preach as gospel. 6 years ago, Mike stood in a high-end camera store, credit card in hand, ready to spend another $5,000 on a camera upgrade he was convinced would transform his struggling channel.
I did this big Trans-Siberian Railway Russia trip, made all these videos work so hard, and they just all bombed.
His videos weren't performing well. Like most creators, he blamed the algorithm and his equipment. Surely with a better camera, most people would watch. The salesperson had already started processing the payment when Mike received a notification. His latest video, filmed mostly on a basic GoPro, had just hit 1 million views, 10 times more than his previous record. He canceled the purchase on the spot, and instead of upgrading, he started experimenting with even simpler gear. That decision transformed his entire approach. He realized that for adventure content, mobility and authenticity mattered infinitely more than resolution and bokeh. That professional look wasn't just unnecessary, it was actively creating distance between him and his subjects. Expensive equipment isn't an advantage for new creators. It's a barrier. It's not an asset, it's a liability. Mike intentionally keeps his gear minimal and mobile, even after gaining millions of subscribers, because it leads to more authentic content. Simpler is often easier and better.
I wanted to have the best camera, the best microphone, but as I've continued down this path, I just keep on getting the most simple gear. Any complexity just gets in the way.
Complicated gear creates friction that prevents consistent creation. It intimidates subjects, it draws unwanted public attention, and it slows your ability to capture authentic moments. It doesn't just complicate production, it fundamentally changes the nature of your content.
I'm very comfortable doing television shows. I've done quite a few. I don't like that style as much because I'm not the guy that sits on the sideline and says, "Oh, here we are, look at the tribe behind us. They're eating the gazelle."
To implement Mike's simple gear approach, first prioritize mobility and speed over technical perfection. Use equipment that you can deploy in seconds, not minutes. The best camera is the one that you can activate instantly when opportunity strikes.
I just want to know I have something that I can record on immediately that takes up a bunch of batteries. A GoPro or even a cell phone, you just jam them places. It's just so much easier to break down that wall.
Second, pair minimal gear with strategic thinking. Mike combines intimate first-person footage with select cinematic shots. He uses the right tool for each moment, not the most expensive tool.
I have a videographer on set too. I do everything on GoPro. He does everything on a Sony a7S III. We keep the intimacy of a GoPro and the quality and the cinematic elements of a nice cinema camera.
Finally, choose gear that doesn't intimidate subjects. Professional setups just complicate workflow. They change how people respond to you. Small cameras create more natural interactions.
Bigger cameras are just complicated. They're hard. They're longer to turn on. You can't jam them places. They make people feel more uncomfortable. No one minds a GoPro. It's tiny.
Simple gear removes the largest barrier to consistent creation. But gear is just one piece of the puzzle. To build a truly sustainable channel, you need systems that keep you productive even when motivation inevitably fades. The biggest threat to YouTube's success isn't external competition or the mysterious algorithm. It's internal burnout. Mike emphasizes that successful channels aren't built on talent alone, or even consistency. They're built on sustainable systems that allow for consistent production without exhaustion. Most small creators try to become one-person production studios. They film, edit, design, promote, and engage. They wear every hat until the weight crushes them. This approach doesn't just lead to burnout, it virtually guarantees it. As channels grow, this problem won't diminish, it will only amplify.
One of the biggest struggles for creators is that transition from one man or one woman show to team, because you develop a whole skill set and a whole flow of record a video, make a video, post a video, boom, boom, boom.
To build systems that prevent burnout before it starts, first create an idea management system. Your brain is for generating ideas, not for storing them. External systems free up your mental energy for all of the creative stuff.
I have a map. I've pinned all of these interesting things I've come across over these 10, 15 years, and that's a good source of inspiration. If I look at a country and it's got 5 or 6 different pins in the map in the country, then I would consider a trip there.
Second, build a team as soon as it's financially viable. This doesn't mean hiring a full-on production studio. It might mean finding a freelance editor to take editing off your plate, or a thumbnail designer to handle that critical aspect of your packaging. You can easily find help on Fiverr or from virtual assistants overseas like in the Philippines. Even small delegation can create massive liberation.
For myself, I have 2 editors. I have a main editor and I have a kind of like a supervisor editor, and those 2 handle the long form. I have a short form editor as well. I have 2 people for thumbnails, and I have 1 person for dubbing.
Finally, use simple communication tools to manage your workflow. You don't need expensive project management software or complicated systems. The best system isn't the most comprehensive. It's the one you'll use consistently.
I just use WhatsApp for everything. So I have a WhatsApp group for full-length feature videos. I have a WhatsApp group for shorts, WhatsApp group for thumbnails, WhatsApp group for making maps if we're going to be doing that for a video.
With these systems in place, you'll build a foundation for consistent audience growth. But audience alone doesn't pay the bills. How do you transform a small but engaged audience into actual income? Small creators obsess over reaching that YouTube monetization threshold, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. But Mike reveals that this fixation isn't just limiting, it's actually leaving money on the table. There are numerous more lucrative ways to monetize even with a small audience from the very beginning. Waiting for AdSense is like waiting to win the lottery before you've even started investing. It's passive when you should be active. And once monetized, ad revenue alone rarely sustains creators beyond coffee money, unless you're like Mr. Beast hitting billions of views, or are in an ad-friendly niche like business.
I started to get a little bit afraid with my content being a bit more on the edge. So I started to look at other options. It was into a newsletter, it was into some digital products, far bigger than just the YouTube channel.
To monetize your YouTube channel effectively, first build direct relationships with your audience through newsletters and communities. This creates a bridge between you and your most engaged viewers that doesn't depend on YouTube's algorithm. It's not just another platform, it's digital real estate you actually own.
Well, the main thing was a newsletter in the beginning, which is on Kajabi. And then inside of Kajabi, I was able to do all sorts of things, make a course, sell retreat tickets. And so you're not a slave to posting videos all the time.
Second, create in-person or virtual experiences based on your expertise. Whether it's workshops, consulting sessions, or even travel experiences that align with your content. Experiences command premium pricing that AdSense could never match. These won't just supplement your income, they could actually become your primary revenue stream.
And that integrate that into the actual video itself. So it's like, hey, we're in Congo, but if you want to come join me and travel in Mexico, we have this amazing trip. Check out this link, fearlessandfar.com/trips.
Finally, understand the power of repeated touch points in your marketing. One mention of your offering won't trigger a mass conversion event. You need strategic repetition across multiple videos, descriptions, and platforms. This isn't being pushy, it's just being present when viewers are ready to take the next step.
And I read a book called the 16 Word Sales Letter. And in that book, it said that in today's day and age, like you have to contact people like 19 times before they take action.
Multiple revenue streams don't just create income, they create freedom. But monetizing on YouTube is a really deep topic, which is why I created a video that lays out the blueprint to make money on YouTube from day one. I'll link that at the end of this video. Now there's one final element that ties everything together. The element Mike considers the true secret to his success, the foundation upon which everything else is built. True consistency on YouTube transcends upload schedules. It encompasses your visual branding, your message, your energy level, and the value you provide. Mike struggled for years before realizing this holistic approach. Consistency isn't just what you do, it's who you are to your audience. Both viewers and the algorithm need clear patterns. They need reliable signals to help understand exactly who you are and what you provide. When you're inconsistent in any dimension, YouTube struggles to match you with the right audience, and then potential fans will struggle to connect with your core message. To embrace consistency over perfection, first establish an upload schedule you can actually maintain. Consistency trumps frequency every time. 2 videos monthly released on schedule builds more trust than 5 videos one week followed by silence for 2 months. Perfect is the enemy of done. Done is the foundation of growth. Second, maintain visual consistency in your thumbnails and presentation. Your channel shouldn't just sound like you, it should look like you. Visual consistency creates instant recognition. Recognition builds familiarity, and then familiarity nurtures trust. Third, focus on a consistent value proposition. Know exactly what specific value you're providing and deliver it in every video. This isn't limiting, it's clarifying. It doesn't restrict your creativity, it channels it towards what your audience actually craves from you.
I really do feel like I'm an ambassador when I go to these places, and it's my duty to go as deep as possible to, first of all, honor the people I'm with, for example, with the tribes, but also to be able to give back to the audience.
This is the YouTube success paradox. By focusing on consistency rather than chasing viral moments, creators actually achieve the success they sought all along. It's not about climbing a massive mountain in one exhausting push. It's about walking a consistent path that gradually ascends to heights greater than you imagined. These 9 strategies by Mike Corey aren't theoretical abstractions. They're battle-tested methods that transformed a camera-shy beginner into the mind behind a multi-million subscriber channel. They're not just concepts, they're weapons you can deploy immediately. 2025 isn't just any other year for creators. It's easy mode for those brave enough to start now. The platform is actively promoting smaller channels. Audiences are craving authentic content over polished production. And now you have a proven roadmap for success. The algorithm isn't against you, it's looking for you. The only question is, will you be there to be found?
People say it's more crowded than ever and it's too late to start. People will always say that. I see it as it's so ripe.
The next 30 days will determine your path. Will you join the 22% who build sustainable channels? Or will you become one of the 78% who quit before they ever see results? The choice is yours, but the path is clear. Take 10 minutes today, not tomorrow and not someday, to brainstorm 5 video ideas based on your unique perspective. Then choose one and commit to filming it this week, even if it's just on your cell phone. And if you want to ensure that every action you make ladders up to making money with YouTube, then watch this video right here.